Hey friends, it's Sarah. In December, I took part in the Lightfall mini readathon hosted by Book Roast, and I made a TBR video for it, which I will link up top and in the description, but this is the kind of late wrap-up of what I actually ended up reading over the 9 days of the readathon. This little readathon works is that each reading prompt is associated with like a different shop that your character in the readathon visits during like the holiday shopping season. Despite setting a vaguely unreachable goal of reading 7 books over 9 days during the busiest time at my work, I did actually end up reading 6 books, so I'm pretty happy with that. I visited 6 different shops, and the first one that I went to was the Owlcat Craft Cafe, where I read the Rom-Commers by Katherine Center. This was a 3.5-star read for me. It's a romance where Emma Wheeler is an aspiring screenwriter who has put her dreams on hold to take care of her dad who needs full-time care. She's given the opportunity to help her favorite screenwriter kind of zhuzh up his first rom-com script, and she discovers that he doesn't even like rom-coms or believe in love, and this project is really just an exchange to get another script greenlit. So her and the screenwriter Charlie have to work on the script, and she is determined to make him believe in rom-coms and maybe even true love. I enjoyed the fast-paced writing of this and the premise of the story, but I didn't love the fact that on 3 separate occasions the plot hinges on Emma overhearing conversations that she isn't supposed to. And Charlie was like a little too grumpy and Emma was like a little too naive for her age, so it didn't quite work as well as I wanted it to, sadly. So up next, I visited Shank and Shaw Legitimate Retailer, where I read You Again by Kate Goldbeck, a 5-star romance for me. I talked about this book in my Best Books of the Year video, which again I will link on the screen, but this is a modern gender-bent version of When Harry Met Sally, and I was never really a huge fan of the movie, so I can't really point to the quality of like the homage there, but this one was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a little more explicit than I tend to read in my romances, but more in that there was like a lot of open discussions about sex and less in there being like a lot of sex scenes. The 2 main characters are both terrible in their own ways, but together they're like this excellent storm of chemistry and snark and banter, and it's definitely not a rom-com, but it delves deeply into the character psyches and what past traumas have made them like this, a TM, so it's a bit more of a like romantic drama, which I actually quite liked. It was pretty deep and emotional, but still had lots of like fun banter and shenanigans. Then I read The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson for the Occult Premonition shop. This also made it into my Best Books of the Year video, so that was great. It was a 5-star read, and it's a sci-fi / dystopia where the main character is a traverser who can visit parallel universes where her double has died, and on one of her trips she discovers a secret that kind of flips her perception of society on its head. There's a sapphic romance, there's kind of Mad Max vibes, and there's a really incisive examination of the social stratification of this world. So that was excellent, high octane, and a lot of really intense class issues going on. The penultimate shop that I visited was the Old Tales bookstore, and for this I read One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. This was a 4-star read for me. I rarely read thrillers, but I do consistently enjoy Ruth Ware's books, and this one follows a couple who join a reality TV show on a secluded island, and during the first week a storm strands all of the contestants and cuts off their communication with the outside world, and then suddenly people start dying. The remaining contestants have to figure out who the killer is and how to escape the island, and it's just peril upon peril. This actually had a lot less of the reality TV show aspects than I was expecting, and was more of a survival thriller, but it was really gripping. It had some really interesting twists, and I did end up enjoying it overall. The final book that I read was for Smith & Friends and Sons Arcane Goods and Such, and it was Only for the Holidays by Abiola Bello. This was a 3-star teen Christmas rom-com. It follows a city girl and a country boy who don't get along but end up fake dating. Tia is on a break from her boyfriend, not by her choosing, and she's on vacation with her family at this like country inn / farm, and then Quincy's family owns that farm and he's dealing with his own messy breakup with cheating and stuff that happened, again not on his end. And so they decide to fake date in order to kind of get back at their exes, and then they also need to have dates for this like big winter ball that's happening at the end of their stay. So they have each other for that as well. There was like a lot of drama for both of the main characters, which was a lot. I think this was only 3 stars for me because I had a hard time liking Tia. She was such a doormat when it came to her boyfriend back home, and she could be kind of annoying at times. I also didn't love that she didn't like animals. As like a huge animal lover myself, I was like, I don't like that, but that's just like a silly nitpick from me personally. And I think maybe I've also just kind of aged out of this kind of YA book. I think the characters were 17 or 16, but it did read like a little bit younger than that. So I think maybe I've moved on from that stage of YA. But I did really enjoy most of the side characters, and it was a quick little read. So it wasn't all bad. It's just maybe time for me to accept that not all YA books will appeal to me anymore. Hey friends, Editing Sarah here. So somehow I completely missed the fact that I only talked about 5 books while making this video, but we're here to fix that. So the last book that I read for this readathon was For Wallace's Wonderful Winter Wanimals, and I read Off the Map by Trish Dollar. This was a 3-star read. It's an adult romance featuring a woman named Carla who is constantly traveling around the world to avoid her feelings and is on her way to her friend's wedding in Ireland. The groom's friend, Eamon, is sent to pick her up, and they embark on this epic road trip on their way to the wedding. I thought they were both kind of selfish. They just kept delaying getting to the wedding in favor of taking little detours that would inevitably end up in disaster and take even more time than they expected. They were also instantly attracted to each other and they hook up after their first meeting, which is fine, but I'm just like not a huge fan of insta-love, or in this case insta-lust, so that was kind of a knock against it. It was also relatively spicy, which again, not my favorite, so just kind of had some tropes that weren't really for me. However, there was an interesting discussion around dementia in regards to Carla's dad, and that was one of the things that brought this book up to 3 stars. There's also some pretty decent chemistry between the main characters, and they had some fun banter, so that's what kept it from being like a 2-star read. But overall, not as good as I would have liked. Anyways, so that's the actual last book that I read for this readathon, and back to Past Me for the outro. But yeah, those are the 6 books that I read for the Lightfall readathon. I feel like it's a really good range of genres and ratings. There's a couple real standouts that made it into my best books of the year, which is excellent. And overall, it was just like a nice little challenge to take my mind off of the work craziness. So that was a lot of fun. Sorry this video is kind of late, but I took a break from filming over the holidays because it was the holidays and I wanted to relax and not spend time working on videos. So thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Now go read a book. And for this I read, oh, this is a book I actually have. Up next I visited Hold on.